start singing the Meow Mix theme song.
Yeah, that's it. That's well, no, I was gonna say, well, they're not playing the Utah Royals, so it's not really, or the Courage, so it's not really cat themed. Huh.
For a second, I was like, "Why? How the frick are Utah cat themed?" And I was like, "Oh,
Yes.
right, they're like they have a lion or something."
Yep. Uh, God damn it. Okay. Welcome back to Right as Rain. Your Seattle Rain are playoff bound. Um, a lot has happened since we've last convened, including the fact that the club is officially losing one legend after this season and probably the next after the next season.
No, we're not speaking that into existence. Shut up.
I anyway. Um yeah, so the last match the club played was the 2-1 win at home, fan appreciation night, last home match of the regular season for the Reign, against the Utah Royals. Ainsley McCammon's first professional goal in extra time of the first half. Paige Monahan scores for Utah in the 60th, and we all kind of looked at each other like, "Oh shit, that's not great." Um, as I feel like we'd mentioned that, Bella, that Utah was resurgent on a
Yes.
few different occasions, but then Seattle's able to get a penalty in the 67th minute. Don't make any comments about those numbers. And then Sofia Huerta, of course, buries that one to put Seattle ahead. They're able to see that one through. Um, and the Reign punched their playoff ticket with that victory at home. It's always nice when they do it with their own result, right? I was never, it's not as fun when you have to wait and like you get it on an off day. It's like, oh, okay. Um, but I think before we go more into that match, we have to talk about the OG we're losing. And Lou Barnes officially announcing her retirement at the end of the season. Obviously, we're hoping there are several matches before we get to this. Um, what's the number now? Like four? Um, or would it be three?
Well, I mean, they have the game against Orlando, and then quarterfinal, semifinal, championship would be three more.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I know we talked to a few players, Bella, at the last training that we were both at. And I think it was Sophia said, no, it was Shay. Was it Shay who said she kind of knew early into the season?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had kind of figured it was, I felt bad because, maybe this was my mistake. I made a graphic when they signed her to the deal that said one more year on it. I did not. The problem is Lou had never said, "Hey, I'm done after this year. I'm only." So I was like, "Hey, this could end up biting me in the ass." Technically, it's true. Um, yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's nice she's able to kind of do it on her own terms, right? I mean, having dealt with injury over the last 2 years, we don't really, well, you know, more extended injury this season, right? And last season for the hell of it. But I mean, it's going to be tough because, at least as long as I've been around, I know as long as you've been around too, every player I talk to, I try to, or like especially the younger players, the last few years I've done interviews, I try to mention Lou. I'm like, hey, what have you picked up from Lou Barnes? And they talk about how she is the culture of this club. She has been the foundation, the glue. I think it was Laura during the presser for Lou's retirement that mentioned, she's as much as she's this club more than anyone else because and not to discredit them, but Megan would go on international breaks, Jess as well. Like Lou has always been here, you know. So I mean it's really tough to put into words her career, in terms of longevity and the accolades, and just how steady she's been. Will keep her secret. But Shay, said clip that and send it to Shay. But
I could have because I sent just that to Shay.
not yep.
Send that to
Uh,
Shay and Sarah, the only people who would understand what we're talking about.
yep. Uh, but, just it's to me, it's always been remarkable as someone who played as a center back, like seeing Lou slide tackle. I was just pretty remarkable. But also, I mean, anybody who has covered the club consistently can also attest to the human being that Lou Barnes is, right? So yeah, it's tough to just try and encapsulate Lou Barnes. without sitting here and doing an entire episode on her, right? Um, yeah, Bella. I mean, I know you can say a lot too. Just what can you say about, again, a retirement that hopefully doesn't go into effect for a few matches?
I think a memory that we share that stands out to me is after the 2023 NWSL championship, a devastating loss for the team. We stood in the mix zone and watched Reign player after Reign player walk by us and, albeit kindly, refuse our request to talk to us. You know, and completely understandable. That is their right. Not saying that they did anything wrong in that. But then Lou comes along and almost brightens up at seeing us, immediately is willing to answer our questions, thanks us for being there, gives us a hug, is just the kindest soul who is the epitome of a professional. Like something that I think she shares with Megan and Jess is no matter the result, no matter what they are feeling, they will always give the most thoughtful, genuine answers in press conferences. And that is such an underrated skill, honestly. I don't know if it's because they like didn't get early media training like a lot of young players do now or what. But they are so open and so willing and sometimes very like shockingly able to put their emotions aside in moments that is really hard to do that. Like, not to call you out, but like you're emotional right now. And like,
Yeah.
like it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to not get emotional about. And she is so professional and diplomatic, and not in a way that makes her seem far away or uncaring or cold or anything like that. It's not like she has no emotion, but she's able to articulate it and separate herself from it just enough that she can share it. And that's something I've really always appreciated about her. Um, I also think that, when we sort of asked her at her, press conference why she decided to retire, one of the answers she gave was just like, again, like the epitome of who she is as a player. She was like, I feel like this club is in a good place.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
speaks so much to all she cares about. It's never about her. It's never been about Lou. It's always about the people around her, how she can help build this club, how she has helped build this club over the years. And Laura said this too, like, it is always about more than her. The work she does off the field with the recycled clothing line, the work she does with football for her, all of the
Mhm.
eco justice work she does. I mean, everything she does, it's never about her. And that has transcended into how she interacts with her teammates as well. Like, they've all talked about how no matter what she's going through, no matter what the club is going through, she is there for everyone. And I can't remember if it was Laura or Leslie who talked about how difficult that is, how difficult it is to be that person that's there for everyone, no matter what you're going through. Like, that is a heavy burden to put on someone and a heavy burden to hold for a long time, because this is not a new role for her. This is not something that's happened over the past year or two. This is something she's been doing for over a decade. And I just think that so much of what she does can fly under the radar because of that. I also think just, she's never been a flashy player. So there aren't there, a casual fan may not know just how legendary she is. And that's a little upsetting to me personally, as someone
Yeah.
who has like, watched her since you could buy $15 tickets at Memorial Stadium and sit right next to the field. And nothing made me feel better than the fact that I could like afford a ticket with my babysitting money. Like, I I loved watching her. I always have, because she is just so steady. And I think when the Reign defense is playing at their best, even if she's not on the field, that is the kind of play that you see. And I think it's the kind of play that we see from like Jordan Bugg and Phoebe McClernand. You see that steadiness, that calmness, that, I'm just going to be there and I'm going to do my job. I'm not going to be flashy about it. And that is what you need a lot of times in central defenders in particular. I had asked Laura to sort of try to put into words what makes Lou so legendary for people that maybe don't know. And the way that Laura described it is, there are players, well, maybe not call her out, but maybe like Megan, who sometimes are 9 out of 10 and other games are 2 or 3 out of 10.
Mm.
And Laura was like, you don't want that player. You want a Lou who is a 7 to 8 out of 10 every single game. You know what you are going to get. To have that level of consistency for so many years, one, I think is something you see more in defenders than in attackers. I think it's a little bit the nature of the job. But you still, you see defenders who are a lot more error prone than Lou has ever been. You see defenders who are, maybe faster than Lou, but don't have the timing of their slide tackles down. And so they give away bad fouls, or they give away red cards, or they don't, diffuse an attack the way that Lou can. And, I think, Laura was right, is Lou is just so consistently an absolutely great player. And
Sorry.
never.
The Lou shirt's on sale, so I'm
Oh,
gonna buy
yeah.
that right now
Oh
while
my
you're
God, wait,
talking.
they did. Can you buy one for me too?
That's
And I'll pay you back.
I'm poor.
I said I'll pay you back. Share shipping costs with me. Um, anyway, um, so yeah, I think it's what makes Lou so amazing is that combination of being a legend on the field and an extraordinary human off the field. Like, those are the kind of players that you see, like in Alex Morgan, like a Kristen Press, Ali Riley, other players that you've seen retire recently that have gotten this sort of outpouring of love and recognition for what they've stood for off the field and what they've helped accomplish off the field while being amazing on the field. And I don't think Lou is often included in that conversation by some people because she never had that women's national team career. She had 1 or 2 call-ups, I want to say around 14, 15, but never, I don't think she ever made an appearance. And, never really stuck on that team despite kind of, winning NWSL Defender of the Year, same as Becky Sauerbrunn did. Like, I think, like, I would say, like, she is the same level of skill as Becky Sauerbrunn, an unquestionable legendary center defender, right? I would say she is at least as good as Becky Sauerbrunn. And because she didn't have that national team career, and especially because a lot of her career happened when the NWSL didn't get as much attention as the U.S. women's national team, just how legendary her career is can get missed. But being the first player to make 250, regular season appearances, first player to 100 regular season wins, now there's only 2 and it's just her and Jess. Like, those are unquestionably legendary things. And they could not have been accomplished by a better human being. So, she hopes to stay around the club. We hope she stays around the club. Love her endlessly. And, I just hope that when people talk about her career, they don't miss the on-field aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's easy to talk about how good she is. Like, it's so easy to just praise Lou for being the best human being. Like, I could talk forever about how kind and giving and wonderful she is. But you also have to recognize everything she's done on the field after she really thought that maybe professional playing was not in the cards for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, she had played in the WPS, it had folded, she had gone into coaching, thought, oh, it's a little early to be on the sidelines, but there's not another, stable opportunity. And then she goes on to play for 13 freaking years with one club and, you know, see it through all of its highest highs and its lowest lows and be the glue that kept it together during its lowest lows, thinking particularly of last year.
Mhm.
So just a legend in every single possible conception of the term. And I truly was devastated when she announced her retirement, though we knew it was coming. And I really, I think we both wish her nothing but the absolute best moving forward. I know she's going to continue to do great things because that is just the kind of person she is.
Well, I've already made my purchase. Uh,
And not mine.
I'm poor.
Okay, so I'm going to text my mom that we're going to buy them both a
Yeah,
pair.
so I will speak while you do that. I mean, yeah, I just, we could do a whole episode about this, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I will talk about the player aspect of things, but I will share, because you do make a good point. People will talk about that, but and I know there's some folks who cover the league nationally, but I don't know if there are enough people who have experienced what we have with Lou Barnes that maybe have told those stories. And I know there are fans who I'm sure would appreciate that, so I will do both. Um, yeah, I think some we've you and I have talked about both on the show, and we've made it a point to talk about the show, but in person as well. Is just the communicate, not only just the steadiness, as you've mentioned, how I glorify the slide tackles because I just I really like if I ever have the time, I'm gonna make a compilation of this, just
Oh,
like an
yes,
hour long
please.
compilation,
I need that.
right? But it's the communication in the back line because what was it, the Chicago match on the road where she had to go out this year because of an injury. And instantly you just kind of it's not a shade or a slight to any of those defenders because you bring up her mentioning the club being in a better place, which one is a key thing to the younger players, which we'll talk about, but also what Phoebe's become, right? Over the years here, but there is just a level of communication and savviness and veteran experience that she has back there that keeps that back line in place. I'm sure Claudia helps. I know we got audio from her. I don't remember it off the top of my head right now, of course, but like, that's valuable to have a veteran back. At least in the NWSL, there is no better definition for the word veteran than Lou Barnes, right? And there's literally no better definition. And that's something that, I don't want to be like a dickhead about it, but there are some like Sounders fans who maybe watch one or two Reign games or they just check box scores and they don't truly see what Lou Barnes provides, and they're like, oh, they need to get rid of, they need to move on from the old players. I'm like, yeah, respect to you, of course. You have no idea what you're talking about.
You're very, very
It
wrong.
like I am interested again. I
The
I
most
am
wrong you
happy.
could be.
Extremely loud, incorrect buzzer. Uh, I do feel great about where the back line is. Maddie Curry's been great this year, right? Having Sophia through 27, if I remember correctly, is great. Have
Yeah.
her back. Um, Phoebe's, talked about Phoebe all the time, and Jordan Bug, like depending on if they go 4 or 5 back, who knows with Laura. Um,
Yeah, she did say
it's
she's not committed to one.
exactly, which I'm like, hey, fuck.
Make it easier for us, Laura, please.
Yeah, make my job easier, please.
Yeah. Really,
Um,
you're hurting us, Laura.
have you considered that?
Yeah.
She's just in
You
the locker room
considered
like,
our
what will
feelings,
Bella
Laura,
and
when you're making
Charles think?
tactical decisions for a game.
She goes one post game, she's like, yeah, I was thinking about you guys, so I wanted to make it simpler. No. Well, I mean, she's been very poignant about pointing you out this year, stating back to the very first training session of the year. Um, what did you say? You're gonna get me in trouble, Bella?
Yeah, she did yell at me from across the field that I was going to get her in trouble, but really, it was not my fault. She
So,
was the
but
one who said something she shouldn't have,
this is true. Yeah,
that
and
we
then
all knew was going to happen
the
anyway.
PR guy was like, just call Ryan out like that.
No, it was just funny when she looked over at him. He's like, "No, no, you can't answer that."
So
Anyway,
I just think that the communication aspect is so big because either there will be matches where she's not in or she'll have to leave and you see it kind of crumble, you know. Um,
Though I do think
but
it's gotten better,
yes, yeah, but
significantly better.
it is still a thing that, you know, I feel like is something that maybe other fans will gloss over because maybe they don't see it as much. And then I could tell Lou Barnes stories for hours. I mean, on the personal side of things, you know, just yeah, I mean the championship match 2 years ago was heartbreaking. Not only because of the way it ended, you know,
And the way
Megan,
it started,
the way it started, Megan's career ending the way it did, but the human beings, you know, when you're covering a club as close as we do, you know, you do undoubtedly get to know these people. I mean, I'm not saying we know every aspect of their lives, but you know, and as media we're supposed to be professional and not have like a rooting interest, but when you see the human beings that they are, you'd like for them to succeed. um you know, and yeah, Lou taking time to, you know, who unfortunately I really hope it's not, but what if that is the one shot in recent memory she's going to get at a title, you know, and she's taking time to talk to two dorks who have come down to San Diego, you know. Well, yeah, well, the other media, I think there was one other person with us that time, but everyone else was further down. They weren't concerned about it, right? Like, you know, stuff like that. She's done stuff like that at trainings before, you know, she's been supportive of the coverage we've done and other things. Like yeah, oh God, can't do it. Nope, hold the tears in. Um, it's difficult, you know. Hmm. You know, as a man covering a women's sports team, right? You try to not ever make it about yourself or, you know, be too much of a man, right, in this space. And Lou Barnes has like I've never felt more accepted by a club, you know, or you know, at home with a club. And that is Jesus Christ, Chuck, hold together because of Lou Barnes. So
would it help if I start making funny faces?
no, because the tears are in my eyes and I can't see anything.
Okay.
Uh, so you know, it's gonna be really difficult. But again, hopefully there's 4 matches to go. We don't worry about this sort of thing.
There's at least two more at the very least.
So that and I know it's delayed and we won't talk too much about that one down the road, but Lou, well, with Lou, we've got a slew of retirements to talk about because it was Lou. Uh, Jess Fishlock has retired from international play and has put on the Wales kit for the last time. Um, and I think if I'm spoiling something, you can tell me to shut up. But I know you talked to Jess, and she said she at least wants to play one more year for the club. But I also believe she said that when she was with Wales over the weekend.
Um, Note what she said with Wales over the weekend, but when she did the pre-match press conference ahead of the Utah game, um, I did ask her if retiring specifically from international duty meant she intended to play one more year with the Reign. She says that is her intention and hope. So I'm, you know, the club would be stupid to not find a way to have her return for a year
I
as long
I
as she is healthy.
I would be shocked if they don't find some way to do it. If they do not, I will wear a wig on camera for a month straight.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't care
That
how much
is,
money you have to give her, you keep her for another year. Um, Although at the same time, like, if she was going to go anywhere else, I would be absolutely shocked, and it would be somewhere closer to home. Like, I do not see her going to another NWSL club. If Wales like suddenly had like a professional division for women, that I could see, kind of like what we've seen with some of the Canadian players coming out of retirement to go
uh,
play in the Northern Super League. Nothing happening on that end that I'm aware of. So I do believe that I believe she believes she plans to return um, for a year, and that is her hope. And I think I don't remember if we had talked about it on the podcast or if I had just said this to you. But it's something we've seen over the years. Players retiring from international duty. Hannah Glass did it a
yes.
year ago to focus on playing in whatever domestic league they're playing in. You know, both Laura and Jess have talked pretty extensively about how difficult it is, the amount of travel she has to do to go play for Wales because I mean they played in the US that one time on like Pino's retirement tour, but they're like always playing in Europe, and that is a very far way to go for someone who was in their late 30s. I don't remember which year, so we're gonna not say it.
Eh,
Um, and so it does seem like a decision. Well, one, she said she felt like she couldn't commit to the World Cup cycle.
Ah,
Didn't feel like she could, commit to being able to play for Wales in 2027, which makes a lot of sense. And so wants to give them the time, obviously, like we've seen with U.S. women's national team players, to not focus on an older player who's not going to be there, and instead, bring up young players and all that, and people who they hope and think will be available for a 2027 World Cup and, able to contribute to trying to qualify for that for what I believe would be the first time in their history. Um, it is certainly the end of an era for Wales because really everything that has happened for Wales has happened with Jess Fishlock at the helm. Um, I thought it was I thought it was nice that they were playing Australia for her last game. Didn't get the win, but a 2-1 result against Australia, not bad by any means. And I thought it was nice that she exchanged jerseys with Steph Catley after the game. Obviously, Steph played a few years with the Reign with Jess. Um, let's say, what was that, 2018, 2019? It was Vlatko years.
F.
Um, and seen a lot of praise for her across social just media in general.
Eighteen
Um,
nineteen.
Look at me, I got it. Um, I really only remember because of the jerseys, and I remember her being in a cast for a lot of time she was wearing because she had like broken her wrist or something. Um, but so yeah, and I think it makes a ton of sense. Jess has obviously played less and less minutes over the years and has not been shy about the toll it has had on her body. She said she felt good coming back from the Euros. Um, and she's been pretty available this second half of the season. I don't recall her being on the injury report at any point this season.
And
Not sorry,
she's
not
looked
this season, but
fucking good.
in the second half of the season. Yeah, has had 4 or 5 goals since coming back from the Euros. So really, really sad for Wales, but at the same time, I'm so happy for her that one, it looked like Lou was at the game, based on
Yes.
her Instagram stories. Z, her wife, obviously, of course, also there. Um, so nice to see that she had that support. But just so lovely that she got to make that major accomplishment for Wales, going to their first ever Euros before retiring. It's what she, had talked about working towards her entire career. And, I can only imagine how beautiful for her it must have been to see that come to fruition and then score her country's first ever goal at that tournament as well. Not come away with any wins, but also come away with kind of putting the world on notice a little bit about who they are and what they can do and how much fight they have in them. Her being called like the tiny Welsh dragon is the most apt description of Jess Fishlock you will ever find. Because she just embodies that fieriness and that competitive spirit and everything. And Wales are better for having had her, even if they'll no longer have her on the pitch. I think she has set an example for all of those players, and they've talked about it. Like they grew up watching her play for Wales. She is their inspiration, and her not playing for them anymore will in no way stop her from being an inspiration.
I mean, it's interesting. You talk about Hannah Glass, an international career. She's also retiring at the end of the season.
Which is less
I mean,
surprising because she really, I don't actually think she's, she's made like maybe one 90th minute sub appearance this entire season.
Yeah, and it's with the retiring from international play last season or this off season,
I think it was
um,
this off season because we'd asked her about it at
at the
the
KXP, yeah,
yes.
the anthem event. I also kind of wondered about that sort of thing when it could have been wrong, but following Spot Track, it looked like the Rain had declined her option for next year, and
Yeah.
I was like, it's always tough because I want to be like, oh, you're old, but also I was like, hey, you're kind of get up there, you've playing a good amount in your career, you're retiring from international play. It's like, do you want to go out and just finish it off with like a 1 year somewhere, or I didn't know
I think she just really struggled to come back into form
the injury.
after an ACL tear.
Yeah, that's
Because she had
tough.
signed with Kansas City after that and sort of had come back healthy. And I think Laura has sort of talked about her adding more of a veteran voice, has been more of a leader, and maybe someone who is a little more helpful in terms of like the advice she can give than maybe direct contributions on the field, just because of how little she has played. Um, has sort of, I think, she's talked to Anna Maria has played a decent amount, but she's kind of similar where she's such an experienced player. We're having them as either options to come off the bench to kind of close out a game, or just as people who have such valuable lived experience um, has been helpful to the team.
Yeah. I mean, well, especially like in such a formative year for the club, like last few years, right? Where just looking at you look at right now, you look at the news segment of the Rain website and you see the ESPN at U19 rankings, and you've got Adamas Bug McCammon on there. Ainsley McCammon, who I think I brought it up with you after during the Utah match because she had scored. It was like, what didn't Laura say that Ainsley could be like something about her talent being like one of the best of this young group, but she's got a long journey ahead. Like
She is also the youngest of them.
yeah, there's
Like,
lots of praise. Like this, she is going to be great. She's just going to have a long journey ahead of her.
yeah, because
Um,
Jordan and Emery signed when they were like 18, almost 19, whereas Ainsley, I think they signed as a 16-year-old who is
yes,
now 17.
it's so crazy. Um,
Way to make
but
me feel old. I'm not old, but like, make me feel old.
yeah, okay. Well, but that and then having five players called up to youth national teams with Adamas, Darlene, Mason, Nico Purcell, and Ainsley, of course. It's and it goes back to the Lou thing about the club being in this place, right?
Mm-hmm.
As as bad as last year went, and I don't know if we'll ever know the extent because Leslie Galmore, the general manager, mentioned how she came in here and it was like everyone's running around with their chicken, like their head cut off like a chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if
Yeah,
we'll ever.
she brought it up during Lou's press conference, didn't she? She
Yes,
talked
yeah, yeah.
about how
She
everything was
came
so
in.
horrible, and Lou was what held everything together, essentially.
Yep. So like, I don't know if we'll ever know the extent of how bad. Like, we can get an idea,
And we heard
right?
a bit about it at the time.
Yes. Um. Yes. Yes, we have.
Yeah,
Um. Just glad they got those beanies. Um.
that was the beginning of this season.
I know, but still, it's part of the change. Yeah, but seeing in this part of my like thing as we will transition to the match and like where they sit right now, right? But like for to talk about me official, right? About how the plan for her is to, it's long term, right? We've brought that up several times here and with Laura, but knowing that this, at least ahead of the season and through the year, as we've talked about, right? This isn't a championship or bust. You want to win because you know how competitive this league can be top to bottom. Um, but it's not like you're pushing all the chips in. Um,
I
you
will
know,
say though, Laura sounded like a little more like she's going for a championship than I had thought. when
Well,
she
so like I think with the opportunity here, right? I think, and maybe this is selfish man talking, but like anytime there's an opportunity like this, I'm gonna be disappointed if you don't take advantage, right? Like I was talking to I off camera I was talking to Bella. I was doing a thing with Philip Grubauer with the Kraken today. He's a big baseball guy, so it's like, oh yeah, the Mariners, it's upsetting. What he goes, would you rather go to the World Series and get your ass kicked, or go to Game 7 in the ALCS and get your heart broken? I was like, well, I'd say you'd rather get to the World Series to just say you got there, but also if you're gonna get there, you want to win it, right? It's a missed opportunity.
with the Mariners, it's a tough question because they've straight up never been to a World Series. So like
Yeah, that's what I told Phil.
so
But you get what I
getting to the
mean,
World
right?
Series is an
Like,
accomplishment in and of itself. The Reign have gone to 3 championships and lost.
yeah, but you know what I'm you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
anytime
yeah.
as much as there is overachieving, so to say, I think, yeah, I'm sure there have been surprises for the staff and the team this year about who's performed how they have. And they see, hey, we can, you pushed Kansas City, you beat them once and you
One of only 3 teams to beat them, yeah.
push them pretty hard. You're not exactly super far away from anyone else. There's only 2 teams ahead of you at the current moment. Like, I mean, it's not the wildest thing that they could do that this year, but
No,
also,
it was the comments about winning for Lou that surprised me a little bit. Because
oh
she
yeah,
she she talked about how in Megan's last year there wasn't a whole lot of like win it for Megan, even though that was kind of the fan sentiment. And she said, if anything, she thinks that sentiment will be kind of stronger for Lou, like win it
interesting.
for Lou, partly because Megan had a lot of success on the international stage, and NWSL championship was like yes missing from her long list of accolades, but it's not like it's not like it denigrated her career in any way, shape, or form to not have that. And to be clear, it doesn't take away from Lou's either, but it is sort of like Lou has put her entire career and soul into this league and into this team. And it would be sort of the most beautiful thing possible for her to go out with the championship.
Tap it off.
And it seems like a lot of players also would want that for her. So that's
Yeah,
what surprised me a little bit. Not that I
yeah,
think Laura's ever been like, oh, we're not trying to go to a championship or anything like that. It's always been like, we're realistic about what this season might be and like how we're planning for the future, but we're always going to do the best we possibly freaking can.
yeah.
So it's a bit
Um,
of a mix.
yeah, no, which is interesting, right? It was just coming to it to like think about. I don't want to get ahead of myself,
Mm.
but you have to feel like the club's in like to use what we talked about. Luke, the club is in a great position at this current point in time, right? Is where well, we don't know about injury report and how that looks. I was looking at this. I've been doing our daily show for the Seattle wraparound show, and I was going to go to training on Tuesday, but I was up till 4 a.m. and then slept and was late, so couldn't do that. So we
I
don't
was
know.
in class.
Like, obviously, she was on the bench for Canada. Jordan Heidemann missed last match with an illness, but she was on the
Yeah,
bench for Canada.
it does
So
seem
I
like she should be
imagine
back.
there were a few players on there, like Sally Menti.
She said she'd be back if it was a playoff and it should be
Yes,
fine.
it's Sam Meza was originally called up. Do you
Yes,
remember what it was, a hamstring?
yeah, like a small hamstring or calf strain, one of those, something in the
Yeah,
leg. Didn't
I
seem
think
to indicate that she would be gone for a long period of time. Phoebe came in as a sub in
yep.
the last game. Laura said, had it been a playoff game, she would have been available to start. Um, really, the reason Lou started her special retirement game is because Phoebe was unavailable. Um, and
Look good.
trying to think, was there anyone else who was on the?
I was looking the other day. I could pull it up, but my main thing was like,
Oh well, we can kind of add. I think it's fair to add Lynn for the rest of the season
oh yeah,
if we want to get to that news item.
yeah.
Congratulations to Lynn Biondolo and Marley Biondolo.
I was like, hey, what's this new post from Lynn? Oh, that's a baby. Or will be a baby. Yeah, no, it's I don't know. It's tough to be like, oh, this is why, because I don't want to like make it a negative thing. This is why they were like hiding her in the injury report. But it's like obviously there were more important things for Lynn upcoming.
She does get added to the list of like mysterious leg injuries that turn into pregnancy. Although she has had like legitimate leg injuries and everything, and obviously, it's perfectly normal and understandable for expecting moms to wait 2 to 3 months into their pregnancy to announce anything.
Ah,
Um, that's kind of a I, to be clear, I do not know how far along Lynn is. She has not said. I am not going to. I am not
speculate.
speculating, but there is um, a generally accepted period of time after which people will announce their pregnancy because it's less likely to have a miscarriage after that point. Not entirely impossible or anything. And obviously, we hope she and her baby are healthy and everything goes well. But it is normal for expecting mothers to wait a certain amount of time to announce their pregnancy for that reason. Um, Make sure everything is okay. And I don't totally know much about like how what how far along in pregnancy you're supposed to stop playing or anything. Um, but I do feel like every time we've seen a pregnancy announcement, we have then seen that player stop playing. Although Alex Morgan did play like 45 minutes after she had announced her pregnancy. So I guess maybe we should ask Laura in the pre-match if this like definitely means Lynn is out for the season, but it feels like she's out for the season. Like,
Wouldn't hurt to get the confirmation.
yeah,
No,
I don't know, like, because she hasn't necessarily been officially designated as maternity leave yet or anything.
no, not yet.
Um, and I really don't know what the protocol on all of that is, or how far along she is, or what any potential dangers are, or anything, or if that other injury is then also not a factor. Because I do believe she was injured, because she has, dealt with injuries throughout the season, and last year as well. So, actually, the last several years. Um, so, not entirely sure, but I would. I mean, it's okay. Here's the thing. It's a little unclear because Laura could have said like, yeah, she's done for the season like last week or something. And obviously we don't know when Lynn may have told the team or Laura or medical personnel with the team, and if that, contributed to her being on the injury report at all, or if she has been on the injury report solely for that leg thing that she's had going on. So we actually should, now that I'm thinking about it, ask Laura. So maybe ignore everything else I said. Maybe she's not done for the season. I assume she is for safety purposes, but I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
I am
I
not
don't
a
know for
medical
sure.
professional nor a pregnant woman.
We'll we'll double check, but
On
um,
me being pregnant? No.
no,
I'm
on Lynn.
100% sure on that one.
Oh yeah, hey,
Sorry, I
yeah,
spent too much time with my dad recently, so the dad jokes are front
it's
and
your turn.
center.
Um, the I just to go back to it as we kind of get towards the end of this thing. I mean, the position the club is in, because yeah, you got to get through Sunday, and it's not going to be an easy task. I don't know what Orlando will be doing, but it's not like either team can just kind of mail this in, considering you
No,
still
both
need to
pretty much need
secure
a win to be top four.
secure top four with San Diego and Portland. You can also throw Gotham knocking on the door of taking over one of their spots.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, you're in this just in this moment. You are in a top four spot. You've got, you know, a lot of these young players signed and contributing. And even the ones who aren't contributing, like that's another door open. Because I mean, can you imagine what you get for my full season of a me official? Have
That's what
Sam
Laura
Mezzo,
talked about after the last game when I asked about her.
right? So I mean, just think about that. Can you like go back to like after 23, early 24, where they hadn't signed these young players yet? You kind of like, hey, what are they going to do? Because Megan's retired. You've still got Lou and Jess, yes, and you've got some good players, but you're in this really weird position. You have to think that, you know, they're in a lot, there's a lot to accomplish still. I'm saying I'm not victory lapping yet. We're not doing that. Hopefully we're in the Bay Area in a month and we'll be able to do that. Um,
The thing I will say about the playoffs is I feel very good about where the team is. However, I would feel so much better if Lynn was available. Even if you get 10, 15 minutes of her off the bench. I and that's not to say like I think Mia has been very good. She has not scored, but I do think that her defensive work within the system has greatly improved. She's gotten to know her teammates. I really thought that when Jess scored the goal against whatever team was before Utah, when she
Bay,
scored what?
AFC.
Yes, when she scored that game-winning goal, I really thought that that was going to be Mia's moment. But it was still like she had made the right run. She had gotten enough on the ball to, mix things up. And then Jess was able to get that goal. Like she played really well. I think Maddie Mercado coming back from loan, she
Mm.
was obviously the one who drew the penalty. I think she's been really good. I think she's just one, she's sneaky fast. And I also think she's an oddly unpredictable player. Like she doesn't play any one position, I feel like. I never know quite how to categorize her. And I just have been um very, pleasantly not surprised, but like just impressed with her performances since being recalled. And Laura talked about it. She just gives them so many different options because she plays so differently from a Jordan or a Mia or a Coco. Like the one thing if there's one thing that the Reign offense has going for them, it's that you don't know who the frick they're going to put out there and what the frick they're going to do. Because
Yeah,
maybe Jess is playing real high, maybe Jess isn't playing at all. Maybe you have Maddie, maybe you have Mia and Jordan, or Mia and Coco, or Jordan and Coco, or like, and I'm literally forgetting Emery and Maddie. Like, there are so many options for Laura and for this team. I think I'm a little like sometimes I feel like they almost create like better scoring chances in transition than they do when they have the ball because they haven't had the ball a lot this year. Like that was what I like kept noticing during the Utah game was I was like they look like they're not used to having possession. And it's true they're not used to having possession. Like most of their games they have not had the majority of possession in the slightest. So I would love it so much if Lynn was able to suddenly make a substitute appearance during the playoffs because I don't think I think she is the most clinical goal scorer on this roster, hands down, no question. At the same time, I like the amount of options that Seattle has. I like the variety of players and I like how they are starting to gel together and, find goals when they need to. I was really worried after Utah came back and scored one. Utah had a couple of early chances too. Yes, it comes from a penalty, but you found a way to score a goal when you needed it and get a win. And, you know, that's what we saw Veronica Latsko do when in that 2023 run
Schross.
was just banging the goal when you needed it and no one thought it was going to be a goal, but there you are, you've won the game. And this team, has a lot of those almost Veronica Latsko-esque players in that they're not the standout player, necessarily. They're not a Lindy and Dolo. I think, save a couple of them, Mia in particular, I think obviously has that reputation, has not translated to the NWSL yet, but has that reputation throughout her career. But a lot of players who will just do their job and do it well and then possibly come up with a banger when you need it. And what
Just, I
more can
mean,
you ask for from the kind of variety that you have on that front line?
yeah, I think I think this is something that Jordan Heidema to us about early in the season was, wanting to be unpredictable on the offensive side of things. That can be good because then the defense has no idea what the game plan for, but also sometimes maybe you'd like to be a little more predictable.
Yeah, sometimes maybe it's nice to know what your teammates are going to do or who
Yeah.
you're going to play with.
But yeah, it just again, I'm filled with hope. You thought, yeah. I mean, you mentioned Maddie Darlene. What you think about what she's been able to contribute to this team, and she's doing so like half playing, focusing on the defensive side of things, but also can terrify a defense by just running right at you.
She was
Um,
getting fouled like crazy against Utah. They were pulling her shirt back so much, and the ref wasn't calling shit. Even my mom noticed, and she's on the opposite end of the field. And
it's
blind.
funny with Maddie because there's some where you and I go, she kind of need to stay up there.
Yeah,
But yeah, that match, that I kind of, yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I
we'll
don't know.
see.
I just feel like the club is in a really good position, to be able to like sustain success. Right. I'd
Yeah,
rather be in a
absolutely.
spot where you're gonna be in it year in and year out. And I know that's a little bit easier, in this league where you got 14 teams now, but are we adding Denver?
And Boston.
Oh, in Boston. Okay. So yeah, you'll add to that crop, but you know what I mean? Like I think this is sustainable right now.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
so
Especially
I'm
now that the
just
defense has figured its shit out.
yes. So
Because
okay,
last
that
year
leads
I think
me.
defense was the biggest issue,
It
and
was
with
so
with Jordan
weird.
like really finding her stride, Phoebe finding
Yeah.
her stride, the addition of Maddie Curry, Sophia coming back, like is Ollie purring directly into the microphone?
But yeah, you get what I mean. So, you mentioned the defense. I guess our last thing to wrap us up for this week's episode is your thoughts on the Orlando match. Because, as you mentioned, neither club is punting this one. They
Yeah.
both need it. Um, Orlando's had its ups and downs, but they've won three of their last four. They've gone undefeated in the last four. Same with the Reign. They've only won two of them. But yeah, I don't know. What do you see here?
I'm thrilled we don't have to game plan for Barbara Banda. That's always nice. Um, I, oof. It's going to be a tough one because they really were in a very poor run of form, and they kind of like, I mean, they've come back into form more recently, but kind of like Utah, are a team that like are suddenly a lot harder to beat. Um, and they still, pending their injury report, have Marta and Elizabeth Ovalle and very talented, very creative players. Ali Watt with a lot of speed still for them.
Old friend
Um,
Ali Watt.
yeah, new Denver Summit FC player. Um, he was signed by Denver and then loaned back to Orlando for the rest of the season.
Oh yeah,
A
kind of
fun
funny.
thing I love about NWSL expansion teams. Um, so I think it'll be a tough one, especially because, you know, for them, I think not getting a top four finish the season after winning the Shield and the championship would be a massive disappointment for them. They're playing at home. I think they're going to have a lot mentally going for them. Not that I think the Reign have anything mentally going against them, but I just think that Orlando will be very driven and have, also relatively solid defense. Ooh, cat saliva just got on my glasses. That's great. Thanks, Olive.
Nice.
I love you, baby. I do. Thank you for the kisses. It's so sweet. You're so beautiful. Um, for anyone who's just listening, who's only listening and can't see my cat, he's beautiful.
Yeah, the people on the podcast are like, "What is going
Like,
on?"
what the fuck is this woman doing? Just like, is she telling Charles that he's beautiful?
Am I not?
No, you are, but I'm not telling you that you're beautiful. I only tell my cat and my dog that they're beautiful, and other people's cats and dogs. So if Cam is around, then yes.
He's
Um,
yeah.
so anyone, it'll definitely be a tough one. Um, not that Bay FC or Utah are necessarily easy opponents because they're bottom of the table, but they are bottom of the table, and Orlando is very much not. Are you okay, girl? Sorry, my dog is aggressively sneezing right next to me.
Yeah.
You okay? Okay. So it's going to be a really tough one. And I think the defense is going to have to hold really strong. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a repeat of a lot of the games where we've seen where they want to let Orlando hold possession and attack on the counter. Because you certainly do not want to let a team with Ovalle and Ali Watt counter. That is not what you want to do. But I think they've done really well in those kinds of situations. I also think you want the momentum coming out of the international break and going into the playoffs. It would be a little bit disappointing to get a tie, but I think a tie or a win is a win in a sense. Like, as long as you are not losing,
Yeah.
I think that's good for you. And I really would love to see, them get another home game for Lou and for the playoffs. So certainly we are hoping for a win.
I was just really hoping that the shot she had against Utah would have gone in.
So close. If we had gotten a
Quite
Lauren Barnes
cruel that
goal,
it didn't.
would have been like the third of her career.
I think it was like the second.
For some reason I feel like she has more than one. I'll have to ask Dan. But
But yeah,
whatever it
can
was, it
you
would not
imagine
it would be
her
one of very
scoring?
few.
I think Laura would black out for the rest of the night if she had scored.
Yeah, I mean, like, give me a Lauren Barnes championship winning goal, and
Hey,
I will literally die right then and there, happy as you could ever be.
so I'm gonna have to drag you to the press conference.
Drag
Be
my
like, Lou,
dead body in.
Bella's here. She's just like out right now.
It's like, sorry, Laura, Bella's dead, but she would have wanted to ask this question.
Laura would get up and start like Bella, let's go. Like, you've got questions to ask me. I know you do. You're gonna have to ask me why I went with a 5 back today.
I always got to ask about the 4 and the 5 back every single time because I'm just like, why? Which one? Why and when? Why?
So, what shenanigans? Yeah, that match is Sunday, 2 o'clock Pacific time
The same
against,
time as every single other NWSL game.
which is so fun, right? It's so wonderful.
People are like, "Oh, decision day is so great," and I'm like, "No, absolutely not. I hate
I
this
love
concept.
stress. Yeah, great. Good for you,
Like,
dude.
I can't watch 6 games at once. Like, what is the joy in that?
Yeah. So
Like,
what?
no.
The Reign are looking, they're obviously worried about their own match, but otherwise you're looking at San Diego, Portland, and Gotham. Gotham plays North Carolina, Portland plays Houston, San Diego plays Kansas City.
Yeah, would love if Kansas City beat San Diego. That would be great.
Why is every other match at the same time except for KC San Diego? They're like, let's just put these two.
Wait, are you
FootMob
sure?
has KC San Diego listed at noon.
That's almost certainly incorrect, honestly.
Interesting. Well, FootMob also had the Reign match listed at 4 before the league officially announced the times, so I wouldn't doubt that they're
Oh,
wrong.
you're right. It does say that. The frick?
No,
Maybe
yeah, on the
because they've
Kansas City
already won the
website it
Shield.
says 2 p.m. Central Time.
That is so weird. I actually have no clue why that is. Maybe so that they could put more than one game on ESPN because I think it's on ESPN.
Well, um, yeah, we'll figure out what to do after that. Um, because yeah, what the playoffs are the next weekend right after that, right?
Yes.
There's no wait. We'll get right back into things. So until we see you next time, from Ollie, of course. Take care of yourselves. Be well if you can to make today
Ollie
great.
wave. Ollie wave.
Like refusing to wait.
Like, bro, you've done this so many times. Why are you now refusing?
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, where are you going to watch all the away games for Seattle Reign FC this year?
Away games. Well, since Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that makes a lot of sense. See y'all here.